Did you know that 1 in 5 adults in the US experience mental illness each year? That's over 50 million people. Yet, many of us still don't fully understand how to take care of our mental health. Worse, we've been fed some pretty misleading myths about what it means to be mentally well. Think mindfulness is just about sitting still in silence? Think again. Or that mental health means you should always feel happy? That's not even close to the truth. These are just a few of the misconceptions that many people believe. In this video, we're going to debunk those myths and show you the real path to achieving mindfulness and mental well-being. By the end, you'll have the truth about what mindfulness really is, why it's not a quick fix, and how you can actually use it to improve your mental health. No fluff, no overhyped promises, just practical, real advice based on science and research. Ready to bust some myths? Let's dive in. Chapter 1: Debunking the Zen Mirage. Mindfulness isn't magic. Mindfulness is often portrayed as a quick fix for stress and anxiety. People believe that by simply practicing mindfulness, they'll find instant peace. But that's a myth. Mindfulness isn't about magic or miracles. It's a practice, one that requires time, patience, and consistency. The idea that you can meditate for 5 minutes and suddenly feel relaxed forever is unrealistic. Mindfulness works by training your brain to be more aware and less reactive. In fact, studies show that regular practice helps reduce stress, but it doesn't eliminate it completely. Research from Harvard suggests that mindfulness can lower anxiety levels, but it doesn't make stress disappear. Instead, it helps you deal with stress in healthier ways. One common misconception is that mindfulness is just about sitting still and clearing your mind. That's far from the truth. The goal isn't to erase thoughts but to observe them without judgment. You're not supposed to stop your thinking process. Instead, it's about letting thoughts come and go without getting attached to them. Dr. John Kabat-Zinn, a pioneer in mindfulness, says, "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf." This is a perfect metaphor for how mindfulness works. Another myth is that mindfulness only works for certain people, those who are calm or naturally zen. Research proves otherwise. People from all walks of life benefit from mindfulness. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that mindfulness reduced symptoms of depression in people who had never practiced it before. The key is persistence. So, how do you get started? It's simple: start small. You don't need to sit for an hour to see results. Begin with 5 minutes a day of mindful breathing. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Chapter 2: The Stillness Trap. Why sitting still isn't always the answer. We've all seen images of people meditating in peaceful settings, sitting perfectly still. But here's the thing: mindfulness isn't limited to sitting still. You can practice mindfulness while walking, washing dishes, or even running errands. In fact, some of the most powerful mindfulness practices happen while you're in motion. Mindfulness doesn't require you to find a quiet place and sit cross-legged for hours. The key is awareness. You can practice mindfulness while doing daily activities. For example, when you're walking, focus on the sensation of your feet touching the ground. This simple act of paying attention to your body's movement is a form of mindfulness. In The Miracle of Mindfulness, Thich Nhat Hanh talks about washing dishes as a meditation. Instead of rushing through it, he suggests focusing completely on the task. Feel the water, the soap, and the movement of your hands. This turns a mundane task into a mindfulness practice. There's scientific backing to this. Research shows that engaging in mindful activities, even while moving, activates the brain's prefrontal cortex, which is associated with focus and self-control. A study by the University of California found that mindful walking can reduce anxiety and improve emotional well-being. Walking outdoors also connects you with nature, which has its own mental health benefits. What about mindfulness during exercise? It's a great idea. Studies show that mindful movement, whether yoga, tai chi, or even a slow walk, can reduce stress and improve mood. One study in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine found that mindful yoga reduced anxiety levels in participants. So, next time you're exercising, try focusing on your breath and body movements rather than your to-do list. The takeaway here is that mindfulness doesn't always require stillness. It's about being present in whatever you're doing. So, if you find it hard to sit still, don't worry. Practice mindfulness while you move, and you'll still experience the benefits. Chapter 3: Emotions aren't enemies. Mindfulness doesn't mean no feelings. A common myth about mindfulness is that it's about pushing away negative emotions. People believe that being mindful means you should feel calm and detached at all times. But that's not true. Mindfulness isn't about avoiding emotions, it's about experiencing them fully and without judgment. In fact, mindfulness encourages you to embrace your emotions rather than suppress them. The goal is not to stop feeling angry or sad but to notice those emotions without letting them control you. According to Dr. Daniel Goleman, author of Emotional Intelligence, self-awareness is the key to emotional intelligence. Mindfulness helps you develop this self-awareness by teaching you to observe your emotions from a distance. When you're mindful, you allow yourself to feel anger, sadness, or even frustration, but you don't let those emotions dictate your actions. This process is called emotional regulation. Studies show that mindfulness improves emotional regulation by increasing activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and impulse control. One study published in Psychological Science showed that people who practiced mindfulness had a better ability to deal with negative emotions. They were less likely to act impulsively when angry or upset. Instead of reacting immediately, they took a moment to pause and reflect. This shows that mindfulness can improve emotional responses by teaching you how to respond, not react. The key takeaway here is that mindfulness doesn't require you to suppress your feelings. Instead, it gives you the tools to face your emotions with acceptance and understanding. As you practice mindfulness, you'll notice that your relationship with emotions changes. They won't control you as much, and you'll find yourself responding in healthier ways. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more practical insights into mindfulness and mental health. We'll be diving deeper into how to improve your emotional well-being with simple, everyday strategies. Chapter 4: Mindfulness for the Busy Brain. You're not broken, just overloaded. Many people believe that mindfulness is only for those who can sit quietly with their thoughts. This myth often leads to the idea that if you can't silence your mind, you're doing it wrong. But here's the truth: your busy brain isn't a problem to fix. It's a common challenge, especially in today's world of constant distractions. The key is learning how to work with your thoughts, not against them. Mindfulness is not about making your mind still, it's about accepting the chaos and learning to find moments of peace amidst it. The National Institute of Mental Health reports that multitasking and constant mental stimulation actually make us less focused. Mindfulness helps reverse this by teaching you to focus on one thing at a time. This can even improve productivity and mental clarity. If you have a busy brain, start by practicing mindful breathing. Simply paying attention to your breath for a few minutes can help calm the mental clutter. Dr. Herbert Benson, a pioneer in mind-body medicine, developed a technique called the relaxation response that uses breathing to reduce stress. His research showed that simple breathing exercises could lower heart rates and decrease anxiety. Another useful strategy is mindfulness during routine activities. Whether you're washing dishes or making coffee, use these moments to practice being fully present. A study from the University of California found that people who practiced mindfulness while doing mundane tasks had a noticeable decrease in stress levels. So, even when your brain feels overloaded, you can still find peace by being present in everyday activities. And don't forget that mindfulness is a skill that grows with practice. You won't instantly quiet your mind, and that's okay. Start small. Try a few minutes of mindful breathing in the morning or before bed. With time, your brain will gradually learn to shift away from constant distractions. This practice builds resilience against stress and improves emotional well-being over time. Remember, mindfulness doesn't require a perfectly calm mind. It's about embracing the busy brain, not fighting it. With patience and practice, mindfulness can help you manage your thoughts and reclaim your peace. Chapter 5: The Perfection Myth. Mindfulness is a practice, not a performance. One of the most common misconceptions about mindfulness is that it must be done perfectly. Many people think if they don't meditate for exactly 20 minutes, or if they can't sit still without thoughts popping up, they aren't practicing mindfulness correctly. This perfectionist mindset can actually hinder your progress. The truth is, mindfulness is a practice, not a performance. Dr. Sharon Salzberg, a well-known mindfulness teacher, says, "The goal is not to get rid of the thoughts, but to change our relationship to them." That's a powerful reminder that mindfulness is about acceptance, not perfection. When you let go of the need for perfection, you can embrace the messy, real experience of being present. In fact, perfectionism can actually cause more stress. A study in the Journal of Clinical Psychology found that perfectionism is strongly linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression. Mindfulness, on the other hand, encourages self-compassion and non-judgment. Instead of beating yourself up over a bad meditation session, you learn to accept it as part of the process. One of the easiest ways to shift from perfectionism to mindfulness is by letting go of the expectation of a perfect practice. It's not about how long you meditate or how still you sit. Start by focusing on the simple act of being present. Even 5 minutes of mindfulness a day can help improve your mental clarity and emotional well-being. Studies show that the benefits of mindfulness come with consistency, not perfection. Research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association showed that people who practiced mindfulness regularly experienced reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, regardless of whether they were perfect at it. The key takeaway? Practice mindfulness consistently, even if it's imperfect. So, if you're struggling with perfectionism, remind yourself that mindfulness is about progress, not perfection. Each session, no matter how imperfect, is a step toward greater peace and self-awareness. Make sure to subscribe if you want to hear more tips and myths about mindfulness and mental health that will change the way you approach your well-being. Chapter 6: Living in the moment isn't about escaping, it's about engaging fully. Another myth surrounding mindfulness is that it's about escaping from reality or disconnecting from the world around you. Some people think that mindfulness means zoning out or avoiding life's difficulties. In reality, mindfulness is about fully engaging with life as it happens, both the good and the bad. Mindfulness teaches us to experience life with all of its ups and downs, without trying to escape. Dr. Alan Lanner, a Harvard psychologist, says, "Mindfulness is not about escaping. It's about opening up to life more fully." This means you can engage with the world more deeply, even when things are tough. Mindfulness allows you to be present with your emotions, challenges, and experiences without trying to numb or avoid them. The idea of mindfulness as an escape also contrasts with its true purpose. Mindfulness helps you fully experience your life by being more connected to your thoughts, feelings, and the people around you. Research from the American Psychological Association found that mindfulness can improve relationships by making you more present with others. When you stop zoning out, you start to really listen and connect. In fact, studies have shown that mindfulness can actually increase your sense of engagement with life. A study in psychological science found that people who practiced mindfulness felt more involved in their activities and were more likely to take on challenges. Instead of disengaging, mindfulness helps you become more connected to the present moment and more resilient to life's difficulties. Mindfulness isn't about avoiding stress, it's about learning how to be with it. It's about staying grounded in the moment, rather than running from it. So, if you're facing challenges, mindfulness can help you cope with them directly. Instead of retreating into distractions, you learn to face life's ups and downs with a sense of balance and calm. The bottom line is that mindfulness isn't an escape from reality, it's a way to live more fully in the moment. It helps you experience life as it is, without judgment, without avoidance. The more present you are, the more you'll appreciate the small moments and find meaning in everyday life. Don't forget to subscribe for more content on mindfulness, mental health, and practical tips to live a more engaged and peaceful life. See you in the next video.